What is up, gamers? FCast and Chill here. So last episode in our combat achievement series, we finished off the Nightmare and Fasani's Nightmare. And in this episode, we're going to be just wrapping up essentially everything that I still have left to do that's not the 3 main raids. So by the end of this episode, the goal is to have everything done except for Chambers of Xeric, Theater of Blood, and Tombs of Amascut. We're going to start off by diving right into the Tormented Demons. So for Tormented Demons, there's only a few combat achievements that aren't super straightforward. So the first of which is Rapid Reload. So this we have to hit 3 Tormented Demons with a crossbow pretty quickly. And most crossbows aren't fast enough for this. So what you have to do is use the Hunter crossbow, the Sunlight Hunter crossbow, and essentially just shoot the far away one first, and then shoot the 2 closer ones to you afterwards. So by the time that first shot you did hits there, you'll already be shooting at the other ones, and then you'll hit all 3 within the allotted time, getting Rapid Reload pretty easily. The last combat achievement we're going to do at Tormented Demons is pretty challenging, and it actually did take me quite a few attempts. It's called 3 times the Thrashing, and this is where you kill 3 Tormented Demons all within a short time span of each other. So the problem with this is when you have 3 different Tormented Demons aggroed on you, then you have to flick your prayers between the 2 different attacks that 2 of them are doing, and the third one will actually shoot fireballs at you, meaning you have to move out of the way pretty quickly. And, you know, also you have to kill them pretty quickly within each other, all 3 of them, and so it's very difficult to do if you don't get their health down super low and then just get lucky with hitting them. But there's actually a way to kind of cheese this combat achievement, and this is what I ended up doing. So what you want to do is you want to come with your toxic blowpipe, and even a serpentine helm can help as well, because the goal is you're going to poison and venom 2 of the Tormented Demons, and then kill the third one when those first 2 are getting very close to dying from the venom. So as you could see, I run in here with my toxic blowpipe and hit 2 of them, one right after the other, and then just kind of hang out and flick my prayers on those 2 while the venom is ticking down their health. And so again, just, you know, hanging out, flicking my prayers. And then once they start to get lower, then you start attacking the third Tormented Demon. And you try to get him down pretty low and then kill him right as the other 2 die from the venom. So again, this did take me quite a few tries of having to get the timing right or even telly out for messing up the flicking. But after some attempts, I did end up getting it, and there is 3 times the Thrashing, and that is everything at Tormented Demons done. So now we're going to move on and go to Nex. So a while back, I had done a few mass kills with Nex, but that doesn't really teach you the fight very well. It just kind of lets you learn the basic mechanics. So to start off, I joined the Nex FFA friend chat and just started doing some Nex trios with randoms. This took me a little bit to get down, but I actually watched the No Monkey guide for Nex duos, and this helped me learn some of the more complicated mechanics pretty quickly. Essentially, the goal is to just use your Fang as much as possible because your melee damage is going to be much better than ranging. And there's some small tricks you can do, like walking under Nex when you're tanking her, just to make sure that she slows her attack down and doesn't hit you as frequently. But really, the fight isn't as bad as it seems. It's just pretty punishing if you make mistakes and, you know, take unnecessary damage. But I ended up doing, you know, quite a few trios with some people just to get the basics down. Unfortunately, we didn't get lucky and get any uniques. But after getting some practice in, I thought it was ready to try for the difficult Nex combat achievement, which is the Nex duo. So this is essentially the only Nex combat achievement that isn't free. And so I went with one of my friends from my clan at the time, Monster, so huge shout out to him. But basically just, you know, bring a lot of brews and blood fury, and, you know, we're going to be wanting to fang the boss as much as possible. And the goal is to take as little damage as possible. So the first attempt we go in here, we don't play perfect. You know, I make some mistakes here and there, and I actually end up dying right as Nex is dying, unfortunately. I think Monster was still able to get the kill count, but yeah, died and ran out of supplies and died right at the end. So that's unfortunate. But we do go right back in, and on this next attempt, you know, everything goes a little bit more smoothly, and we do end up getting the kill. And there's my next duo combat achievement. and that is actually a next green log now. So feels nice. Now I officially have God Wars dungeon completed. So we're going to move on, and the only things we have left for this episode are some of the newer bosses from Varlamore. We're going to start off with Amoxliatl. I think that's how you say it. I'm not quite sure. This boss, all the combat achievements were pretty straightforward, except for the final speed time. You know, if you don't have a scythe, this time can be a bit challenging. But what I ended up doing is I was just going in and resetting until I got a ruby bolt proc. So I would just go in with my armadillo crossbow, and then eventually I did get a ruby bolt to proc. And then once I did that, I actually just equipped my claws and spec'd, and then put on the full blood set and just prayed that RNG would work. And so this is what happened. So that this first time I actually got the ruby bolt to go off, I hit a massive claw spec both times, and then equipped my blood set, and the dual machas hit pretty fucking hard. And you can see that I actually got the combat achievement first try once I got a ruby bolt. So pretty nice, under 30 seconds. We got our 28-second time. So that boss is done. Now we're going to move on to the Hueycoatl. So Hueycoatl is actually a kind of interesting boss fight. I actually enjoyed it a decent amount compared to, you know, some of the other mass boss fights like Wintertodt or Temperos. Huey did take a little bit to get the mechanics down, but not too bad. I initially wanted to go for the GM speed time at Huey, and so this is in a trio or smaller party size, complete Huey within 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I went with a couple guys from my clan, Champ and Liquor Smurf, and huge shout out to Champ, by the way. We're going to be seeing him come back definitely for some of the raids combat achievements, but they do not have the full blood set, which is really useful at Huey. So, but they did both have scythe. So that, you know, it was going to be pretty good gear, but not totally best in slot. And we did have to do several attempts here at Huey to end up getting the speed time. Essentially there was a lot of stuff we tried doing, like, you know, even equipping an armadillo crossbow to try to get a ruby bolt proc, you know, while running up to Huey after the first tail phase. But ultimately, you know, we did end up just like trying to use death charge and, you know, dragon claws as much as possible. Use the dragon hunter lance on the first part. Use like a double hitting weapon like the dual machas for the tail phase, and then just pray to the RNG gods. It did take us a while, but after about, I think it was maybe like 30 to 35 attempts, we did end up barely getting the speed time. And it was actually kind of nice. I ended up getting the Dragon Hunter wand during this grind. So yeah, I'll definitely take that. Not the most useful item, but you know, I'm not going to complain about it. And yeah, like I said, after a little while, we ended up getting our speed time here. You can see I was at a solid 40 kill count after doing a little bit of mass before this. So that's the Hueycoatl speed runner time done. There are a few other Hueycoatl combat achievements, but most of them are pretty straightforward, except for one that I want to mention. And that is this one where you have to be wearing 2 pieces of the Huey hide armor. So, you know, this is a pretty common drop. I do think it's a little annoying when Jagex, you know, it makes you have certain specific items for these combat achievements like this, but, you know, the hides, so to make 2 different pieces of the Hueycoatl hide armor, you're going to need 3 hides in total, and then you can make the helm in one of the other pieces. So, you know, it is going to take a little bit to make the get the 3 hides. If we look at the drop table though, a Hueycoatl hide drop is a 1 in 34.5 chance, and that'll give you 2 to 3 hides. So that means, you know, if we get lucky and get the 3 hides on the first drop, then it's only 1 in 34.5 to get that. And then, you know, even if you're unlucky and only get 2 hides, then you still only need 2 different hide drops to get your 3 total. So that'll be, you know, about 69 kills. Nice. But, you know, we're gonna actually just do solos here too, because even though Team Huey is a lot faster to get kill count, after doing some math, I did realize that it is more efficient to get uniques in your name if you're soloing, if you have decent gear. And that does seem pretty unintuitive because you don't get the DPS boost from praying correctly. But if you're soloing, then there's less percentage of your total time you're playing is downtime waiting for Huey to respawn. Whereas if you're doing, you know, a trio or even a bigger group, you're going to be just sitting around for 25 seconds after each kill a lot, and that does add up. So I'm going to be doing these solo kills, and hopefully we'll get the hides pretty quickly. With my gear, I'm able to do about 7.5 kills per hour. So that means to hit the hide drop rate, that's going to be the 34.5. It's going to take me approximately 4.5 to 5 hours with average luck. So hopefully I'll get that, 3 hides on the first drop, and then this is an easy, short 5-hour grind, and we're in and out. I wish I could say that that's what happened, but let's just see a little, collage here of the loot I was getting from my solo Huey kills. And I'd like to remind you that there is a 1 in 23 chance when soloing to hit the unique drop table. And again, 1 in 34.5 to get a hide. Oh my god, finally, after over 150 solos going almost 7 times dry for the unique rate, I did get a 2 hide drop. Unfortunately, we need 3 hides for the combat achievements, so we just get to keep on going. Hopefully we'll get the next one soon. Alright, and just 16 kill count later, at 217, we did end up getting 2 more Hueycoatl hides. And so that means we can finally craft our Hueycoatl armor and do one last kill for the combat achievement. And there is the armor, and now we have our Hueycoatl green log for the combat achievements. Fucking finally, that was miserable. I know it's not a long grind, but going almost 7 times rate for a unique is pretty brutal no matter what it is. Jagex just loves punishing me. But anyway, got that knocked out, and now we're going to move on to Araxxor, who is the last boss that I need to have all the combat achievements other than raids, so let's knock those out. In one of my prior videos, I showed my loot from my first 1000 Araxxor kill count. And although I didn't quite get the full halberd in that kill count, I did get it pretty soon after, before 1100. So then first thing I'm doing is I'm getting my silver trimmed Rancor amulet. That looks pretty sweet, and now we're going to go use this to get the Araxxor combat achievements now that they came out. So these combat achievements aren't too bad. There's a couple interesting ones and maybe one that's a little difficult, but they were pretty fun to do. Since I already had over 1,000 kills at the boss, I was already pretty good at the fight itself, so they didn't take me too long to get. When Jagex first added the Araxxor combat achievements, the speedrunner time was kill Araxxor 6 times in 10 minutes, and I actually got this combat achievement just from opening up the game after it was added, which is a little interesting to me. I guess it means Jagex was tracking the kill times even, before releasing the combat achievements. But I guess it's nice that we don't have to do any painful speed times that are very difficult without a scythe. But Soul Reaper Axe still slaps here, so should be fine. So the first combat achievement I'm going to go over is the Araxxite Betrayal. So this is a pretty fun one, have an Araxxite kill 3 other Araxxites. And to do this, there are these red exploding Araxxites during the fight, and so what you want to do is essentially just pile up the other Araxxites to where they're all like clumped up, and then just have the red or orange one come right at you. And so you can do this by starting off by killing one of the orange eggs, like you can see that I'm doing here. And then, because the eggs actually spawn clockwise around the room. So then now we're going to get, this green and white egg first, and then another green and white egg before the orange one comes out. So you can see here we've piled up a lot of little Araxxites, and the exploded guys come in, and boom, we blew them up. There is Araxxite Betrayal. Pretty straightforward. Another one that I want to go over is Perfect Araxxor 2. So this is a pretty fun one. It's essentially doing the fight without having any mistakes, and then during the enrage phase, you have to make Araxxor kill himself without you attacking. So if during, at some point during the Araxxor fight, when he gets down to about 255 health, you'll see him, make a noise and then essentially start saying "scree" every attack and slamming the ground. And at this point, if you walk under Araxxor at the right time and then step out, Araxxor will slam the ground under himself and actually hurt himself. You need to make sure you move 2 tiles away from wherever you were standing under him or you'll get hurt. But you can see here I'm just walking back and forth, stepping under and then moving 2 tiles away and doing this repeatedly with the right timing, and Araxxor just keeps hitting himself. This is actually pretty useful for grinding kill count too, just because it makes the kills go faster. But for the Perfect Araxxor 2 task, you have to just do this the entire enrage phase of the fight and never attack Araxxor directly yourself. Also, once there's not really any more room, you can step away, as you see I did here, to make Araxxor come forward, and then that kind of created new squares that I could step under. But this does take a little while, since this him stomping on himself doesn't deal a ton of damage, but eventually, if you're consistent with it and you don't make any mistakes and get hit, then Araxxor will kill himself, and that is Perfect Araxxor 2. And that's really it for the Araxxor achievements. The other ones were pretty straightforward to get. So we now have a green log with Araxxor, and that is it. We have every combat achievement now except for the raids. So that's really exciting. We're really close to being Grandmaster now. I'm going to start off by doing the Chambers of Zarek and Tombs of Amaska, since I'm way more familiar with those raids than I am with the Theater of Blood. But then I have a lot to learn. I still really need to, master the Theater of Blood, or even just learn it, because I haven't done very much. And it's going to be a long road, because I've heard some of those combat achievements are the hardest ones to get. But next episode, we're going to be knocking out all of TOA and Cox first, and then we're going to finish up with the theater. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you want to watch me do any of these things live, or just, come hang out, here's my Twitch in the description below, so feel free to drop me a follow. But yeah, until next time, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I am going to go work on some raids, and I will be back soon. I hope everybody's enjoying leagues and has a good holidays. All right, take care.